Welcome back to another episode of Deck Hockey Focus. We have a banger of an episode. Mock, what do we have today?
Well, there is a brand new 3-on-3 deck coming, and we are privileged enough to sit down with the man with the plan. But before we dive into it too much, play my favorite song. All right, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. For Ryan Shackelford, I'm Eric Mock. Welcome to our new studio. We've been making some upgrades. That's why we've taken ourselves a brief hiatus there. But Shaq, we're not the only ones who have been in growth mode here over these short few months.
That is true. The NDA, the National Deck Association, the 3-on-3, has kind of been doing some behind-the-scenes work for the past couple months and has recently announced their expansion into the Chicago market.
Right. Big market, too, as you were mentioning.
Absolutely. So just stat geek-wise, the state of Illinois ranks third in the country for D1 college commits into ice hockey. So the expansion into that Chicago market is huge for the game of ball hockey.
Absolutely. So we'll be bringing on John Scully, who we just had a chance to sit down with for a little bit of a deep dive, get to know him a little bit better, as well as what they've got going on up there. A lot of passion for the game with him, so we'll hear it straight from the horse's mouth now. Let's jump to John Scully, Glencoe Deck Hockey.
John, how are you doing, buddy?
Life's good. Life's good. Good to be here. Great talking to you guys.
Absolutely.
Well, you were originally on the preliminary roster last time that we saw with Team USA there. Playing career, ice-wise, got in the way a little bit, but you've put all that nonsense behind you, and now you're starting the Glencoe deck up there in the Chicagoland area. So we're going to dive into that. And I guess, originally, how did you make the decision, or what was that initial contact like that, I don't know if Pat gets a hold of you and you guys are flirting with the idea, and what does that process look like, getting it all started?
Well, I had obviously kind of been introduced to deck a couple of years ago, and started playing. We did our first tournament down in Louisiana. Mock, you were my first line mate. That was
appreciate the shout out.
And I would go there and play a couple tournaments, and even just show up for a couple regular season games whenever I could. And it was just such a cool sport. It was something that everyone could kind of get into, and I just kind of talked to Pat about getting something going in the Chicagoland area, and Pat and Nick were like, "Hey, let's look into it." And so I kind of started doing some research and scoping out some places, and I thought that it would be a little easier to find a place, but of course things take some time, and I had been searching. I was driving around looking at parks, parking lots, used basketball courts, tennis courts, you name it. And I had the Google Maps going. My buddy I was driving with him one time, and he's like, "Why do you have like satellite mode on your Google Maps?" And I was like, "Well, I've been scoping out deck hockey stuff, possible locations." And so it kind of just going through with that, and fortunately found Glencoe Deck Hockey out at the Watts Ice Center and reached out to them, and things happened pretty quickly from there. So just kind of an idea going back and forth with Pat, and it worked out pretty good so far.
Well, good. So Pat and Nick, obviously heads of the NDA there. You guys have known each other for quite a while, and then you're actually from the Chicagoland area originally, or give people kind of a look on how you end up there? Because I know you've played hockey at various, locations, various teams around the country and stuff, but why Chicago?
So I grew up there in Arlington Heights. It's in the northwest suburbs. And after I graduated from the University of Illinois, I ended up playing pro for several years, and ran into Pat and Nick along the way. So I ended up playing with Nick my rookie season, and Pat actually ended up coming out and playing a couple games with us as well. So I was fortunate enough to play with both of those guys, and things just kind of kept rolling from there. So it was nice to get a good start to the pro career my rookie year, and then obviously playing in Quad City was something that I was really kind of hoping to do one day, and they were the Mallards, and then they turned into the Storm, and jumped in the SPHL there. So that was definitely nice. It was kind of another home there, playing in Quad City, obviously having been there for the deck plenty of times, and then getting to play there last year with the Storm.
So is it fair to say the stars kind of aligned for you with how you came into the sport of deck or ball hockey?
Yeah, I think that's totally kind of how things happen. I'd I've been around there several times at the deck, and there's a big pro hockey presence. Pat played, Marty played, McMillan was out there too. So it was kind of cool to have a taste of things before actually getting out there.
That's awesome. So Mock hinted at it earlier, like in the intro, that I'll just be honest, you made a bad decision to continue your pro career over deck hockey for a tournament, but it all came full circle. Obviously, joking there, right? But it all came full circle, and you're at this point you're all in on the sport of deck hockey. So, kind of what drives you, and what is your passion about the sport, and what makes you want to do this as your career?
Well, I think the fact that it's still, I get to be involved in the sport of hockey and help grow the game, and get everyone involved, whether it's a little 2-year-old kid just picking up a stick for the first time, or it's an adult who's never had a chance to pick up a stick, all the way on to guys who've been playing professionally for years. So it's something that gets a lot of different people involved, and I'm excited to kind of just continue a career in hockey in some way, shape, or form. And I think get involved in starting up a deck in Glencoe is kind of the best way to keep doing it, and staying competitive. And of course, I myself get to keep playing the sport, so definitely looking forward to kind of getting some leagues rolling and starting up some tournaments, and just kind of growing the game and giving back to the game that's given me so much growing up.
No, that's awesome. I think that's kind of why we're all in this, right? Like
Exactly.
Absolutely,
Well, and
right?
you're a good representative of the game, and I think maybe for some people who are seeing this for the first time, it's important to mention there are leagues for everybody, whether you're 85 years old or you're 3 years old, men, women, advanced level, pro, recently retired pro hockey player, and then probably the top fitness level are two schmucks like us sitting in a chair in Iowa here. But I mean, there's really something for everybody. But so what have the early stages been like? If you guys have been doing open decks, and what's the reception been like?
Yeah, it's been really good. We kind of reach out to the Glencoe Park District, and it's nice that we've already had a couple locations with Quad City, Waterloo, and Springfield, and so we kind of were able to show them some videos and some pictures of kind of what things look like. It's not just, hey, we want to come start a league there, and throw out a ball and have people run around. We kind of were able to come to them with a very organized business model, and they said, hey, that sounds awesome. And so we just kind of did a little introductory period, having open decks and having some sticks and gear available for people to just basically give it a shot. So we did that for the last month or two, just getting people involved, and so far it's been pretty well received, and I think people are looking forward to getting involved in the leagues where we kind of keep all the stats and schedules and eventually player rankings and things like that.
Absolutely, and I think Chicago's a prime market for it. Obviously, top to bottom, starting with the NHL, you have the Blackhawks, but all the way down to the the AA, AAA teams.
Exactly.
Chicago Mission, like the skill and the community is there.
True, and we've already been recruiting Team USA. Some of the younger guys we've seen, Gabe Barrera's out of the Chicago area. So there's definitely some talent.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's totally awesome. I'm super excited to come visit personally, and just seeing the pictures, like the actual rink, like it looks like an amazing facility, and the city's on board with a lot of support there.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. It's in the wintertime, it's a full-on ice rink. So they have a main rink. It's an NHL-sized rink, and then there's also a studio rink, which is where we lay down the deck hockey flooring. So it's a very, very nice facility, and there's a whole basically building attached to it. We have a pro shop, concession stand, things like that. So it's definitely a very unique spot, and it's an outdoor rink and for the ice hockey season in the winter, and then we lay down the flooring in the spring and get some deck hockey going.
Absolutely.
So for people who are visiting the park, whether they're playing, maybe ice or just, messing around, once it finally gets cold, I guess it has been pretty cold here lately, but if they express some interest, they want to get a hold of you, they want to get signed up for what I guess will be the inaugural season here in 2020, where do they go? Websites, Facebook pages, how do they get a hold of you to get signed up?
So we'll have we got our website going. It's glencoedeckhockey.com, and then same thing, our Facebook page, Glencoe Deck Hockey. We're updating that just with everything that we have going on in terms of open decks, registration, leagues starting up, all of that would be the spot to go to.
Awesome. So, guys, definitely check that out. Chicago is obviously the easy jump to if you're looking to kind of get away for the weekend and want to play. So that's awesome. Check Scully out there in Glencoe in the north suburbs. But Scully, do you want to kind of go can we dive in a little deeper here? You game?
Absolutely.
All right. So do we want to take it on a personal level?
You want to rapid fire him?
Yeah. Let's find out who John Scully is.
Scully, we got to get to know you on an extremely personal level now. So we're gonna fire off some questions for you. So we're gonna be shooting from the hip here.
Okay.
You want to start it?
Yeah. First thing I need to know is, what were you for Halloween?
Oh wow. I went as Squints from Sandlot, and my girlfriend Erin dressed up as Wendy Peppercorn.
That is a solid reference. So that being said,
You guys are coming out firing.
I know.
Keep going.
This is what we do, hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
All right, favorite ice cream?
Ice cream. Let's go with Rocky Road.
Nice.
Rocky Road. Okay. Favorite venue you've ever played in?
It's got to be the Tax Slayer Center.
I love it. We're pandering to us a little bit there.
I still call it the
appreciate that.
IY.
There you go.
All right, cat or dog?
Dog, definitely.
Absolutely.
Pre-game pump-up jam. You get one song.
Whoa. Let's go with Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Hey,
Nice.
Arena Rock.
Favorite celebration?
Wow. I'd say just jumping in with my teammates. That's the best. That's the funnest scoring, getting to celebrate with everyone.
Okay,
The
then
group hug?
speaking of teammates, last question. USA or Canada?
USA all the way.
All right, we love it. We love it.
All right, love that. So this might be a thing we start doing, but want to kind of understand our, everybody that's out there. But continuing the conversation here, just want to kind of keep it going. I feel like there's a lot to be talked about here.
Well, yeah. I mean, speaking of USA or Canada, we did mention that you were on the preliminary roster for a couple of different teams. Some professional career obviously would come first at that point.
But did go to Montreal in the first go at 3-on-3.
Exactly. So tell us about maybe some of the times that you've played at a higher level, because I know you've been a member of the Deckheads a number of times for our summer tournament, and you've also played abroad a few times. So, I mean, what are some memorable moments for you?
I'd say just the Louisiana tournament that we went down to was very eye-opening, just in terms of getting some good competition, and then even more so with the national tournament. I mean, I got out there, I couldn't believe how many unbelievable players were out there. I mean, you guys who played professionally, college, you name it, some big time players, and we were fortunate enough to win 2 summer national tournaments with the Deckheads when I played, and they had it also won one before that. So definitely cool getting out in the big tournaments, and then I was fortunate enough to be selected to play in 2016 on the USA World Cup team, and going up there playing against teams like Canada, Czechoslovakia, teams from all over the world. It was really cool, and just to see the high level of play. I mean, there's everything happens so fast, and playing with some pretty awesome players on Team USA was definitely a huge honor.
Absolutely.
We hope to see you in the red, white, and blue here again.
I think the opportunity is presenting itself here for Finland next year, but that's up to Scully. He's got to stay in shape, keep working.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you got to keep training and gear up for hopefully making that team and heading out to Finland.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's a good point he made, like playing against some of those national teams, particularly the Eastern Europeans, the Slovakians, the Czechs. They treat ball hockey as a pro sport. They train year round.
Exactly.
So if there's any advice, like assuming that, that's where the United States and Canada are moving to domestically, of having that international presence, what would your perspective be on how we develop players, and, what does the future and youth movement look like, and what do we need to do to compete at that level?
Well, I think, having as many decks open for players to kind of get involved in the game. And so, of course, Pat started out with Quad City and, kept expanding. And so I'm definitely excited to get, Glencoe started up here in the Chicagoland area. There's some highly skilled players, and, even some kids at the youth level that I think we can kind of develop a pretty good pipeline and start developing players, and, getting them involved in the leagues. And then, of course, starting up our own tournaments and just kind of selecting all the highest kids, and they can play together. And when you start at such a young age and you're able to develop, that's huge for improving your skills. I mean, I only started when I was 23 years old. So I wish I was able to start when I was 3 years old, kind of thing. So definitely looking forward to getting kids started at a young age and helping them develop along the way. And I think we can certainly make a lot of noise in the deck hockey world going forward, and we already have.
Absolutely.
You're gonna set them on fire, Scully.
Absolutely.
Set them on fire. No, but I was gonna allude to that, is like maybe speaking from the perspective of someone who originally had that high level competition on the ice in a 5-on-5 ice hockey setting. What's it like? What's the transition like? Maybe speaking to someone who's maybe in junior high or high school that's used to ice hockey, and now there's this new sport. Speaking from the perspective of someone who's been through it,
done both.
Exactly.
And
what's that look like?
Yeah. What gets you excited about deck or ball hockey? From an ice perspective.
Yeah, I think it's, as much as it's hockey, it's definitely a bit of a different game. And I think certain people coming from an ice hockey background might be like, oh, it's just floor hockey or ball hockey or deck hockey, and they might not see how intense and competitive it gets, because I got out there and thought it'd just be kind of a pickup game, whatever, and I was like, holy smokes, there are some really good guys out there. Next thing you know, you got your board battles in the corners, and you're digging out pucks, and you're battling in front of the net. I mean, it gets pretty darn intense out there. So the competition level is extremely high, and I think even in the off season when I'm skating, just kind of doing stuff on my own, the most competitive thing that I did all summer, when I was playing professional ice hockey, was playing these deck tournaments, because it's, there's no coasting out there. Like if you want to get somewhere, you got to keep your feet moving. So definitely a really, really cool sport. And I think it translates well, where you get to use your ice hockey skills. But even if you're just an athlete and you get out there, it's definitely a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I think that's the kind of one of the hitting points of like the value of the game of deck or ball hockey, is that transition from one winter ice to summer is, improved skill set.
Exactly.
Skating's easy when you don't have to move your feet, right? You just take a couple pushes, you can move. But, once you're on the deck, like if you want to move, you got to go. And then your hand-eye and everything that comes along with it. So from a conditioning standpoint, there's a lot of value that could be bridged between the two games.
And that's what's so cool about the 3-on-3 game, and it's in a little more confined space, and things happen so quick. So your decision-making skills, your playmaking abilities, I think, get taken to a whole nother level, just because you're forced to do things so quick, and there's only so much time out there. So it's definitely nice, and having it be 3-on-3, the ball's on your stick a lot more, and you get a lot of shots off, and the poor goalies out there seeing quite a few shots every game.
20, 30 a period.
I was going to say, it's definitely not your typical. I mean, power plays and everything. You're looking down the barrel of a lot more guns than you're used to.
Well, it's all blue line in, right?
Yeah.
So everything's the offensive zone when you're only 100 foot long. So definitely something that can bridge the gap there, to increase skill set. And, what Scully was saying is confined spaces, quick decision making, and how you approach playing that game, and how that makes you better on the opposite side. So.
Definitely true. Things translate, whether you're an ice hockey player or just an athlete in general. I think the off-season training and the competition that deck hockey offers is something that it's unmatched. You can go out there and skate, or just go for a run around the block, but nothing beats getting out there and having that competition in the game-like setting.
Oh, the competitive. Everybody plays, everybody loves the sport because of the competitive nature, and you get the best of both worlds there.
You mix in the stats and the 3 stars of the game on the website and all that stuff, and it's quite.
It's a real deal, I mean, you can say that, stats don't matter, or, it's just a couple of things here and there, but I mean, you look at your season stats and your progression from one year to the next, like you want to see improvement. So I think that's something that kind of helps everyone keep track of how they're doing. And of course, there's the player rankings, just to kind of keep things competitive, and you want to be the best player you can. So it's nice that we do keep track of everything, and all that's available. Whether you're a goalie and you look back at what your save percentage was last game or last year, it's certainly cool to be able to look back at all that.
Well, good. Before we wrap it up, any early talent, any people that have been to maybe some of
Caught the eye.
the early on drop-ins and things that are some early talents to watch out for?
I've been very, very surprised. Glencoe is a pretty cool area, and there's a big ice hockey presence, and there's also some other, sports that, kids play all kinds of sports out there, and we'll get some kids showing up where, some 9-year-old's just like, hey, can I try this? And he grabs a stick, and he might have played ice hockey or some other sport before, and he's just ripping shots out there. I'm like, holy smokes, there's kids just kind of trickling in, left and right, and it's pretty cool to see. I think there's certainly a lot of potential, and there's a lot of young kids coming through there that I think will certainly have a chance to represent themselves in a big time tournament and even Team USA one day.
No, that's awesome, and the growth of the game is kind of where we need to be.
Ultimate goal.
Yep, and continuing that exposure to everybody. So raw talent galore. We just need to have the facilities and people like you that are willing to invest their time to make that happen for them.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on here, bud. Before we let you go, tell them one more time, how do they find you? Give them the website, let them know.
All right, GlencoeDeckHockey.com. That's where we'll have all the registration information, and that's eventually where we'll have all the stats and updates. And then we also have our Instagram and Facebook, Glencoe Deck Hockey.
That's awesome. We look forward to taking a trip there to the suburbs for the tournament. We go to Waterloo. We might as well visit every NDA. And honestly, I don't feel bad saying this. I'm not looking forward to playing against you the next time we do.
Hey, you've robbed me too many times, so same to you.
Oh, fantastic, Scully. You guys are going to outgrow the Quad Cities in a heartbeat, I'm sure, with all the hockey talent you have in there. But we really do appreciate you coming on the show, and I think there's nothing but good things to come for Glencoe.
You got it. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy.
Have a good one.
See ya.
All right, that was John Scully, head of Glencoe Deck Hockey there. And as you guys can see, lots of passion for the game. And I think that the big thing when it comes to growing and the expansion of USA deck hockey, ball hockey in general, it's rallying around passionate people who really love the game, and they're doing it because they don't have another choice. They absolutely love it, and you see that from Scully, and I think that's huge. But we focus enough here on the Midwest and on the NDA 3-on-3. But what's kind of on the docket here for the schedule?
Well, we're kicking off our new season, but the ball hockey community is kicking off theirs as well. We have the Can-Ams going on this weekend. Unfortunately, we don't have the schedule capacity to cover that one directly, but we are looking forward to a couple weeks for the Clash of the Titans. So coming up there, we're going to be looking at that from Iowa. We'll be here all weekend, so bringing the player interviews and everything that you've come to know and love. So we're definitely looking forward to getting everything rocking and rolling again.
And keeping you guys definitely dialed in on everything. Again, big thanks to John Scully. You guys check him out. I think they're going to be growing like a weed, as well as upcoming tournament coverage. So stay tuned to Deck Hockey Focus.